All right, so if you're making the bobble head, so you will be doing 2 pinch pots just like everybody else. However, your pinch pots are going to need to be starting with different sizes of clay. So I have these ready here. I have one size that is, you know, that same size that we did in the practice, and then this one, which is, you can see maybe like, it might even be half the amount of clay, but it might not look exactly like half. This larger one is what you will want to use to make the body, and then the smaller one is what you will want to use to make the head. And again, that totally depends on your drawings. Maybe you had an oversized bobblehead. But so just like with our other pinch pots, so I have the head prepped out and I have the body. The only difference with the body is that I actually left a good amount of clay in this bottom part. So the pinch pots for the bobblehead are essentially going to be upside down pinch pots. They're always going to stay, you know, with the empty space face down. So there's 2 ways to go about doing this. I'll show you both. So one thing you will need to do to ensure that it has the bobbling effect, you will need to create a very, very long neck. So I'm gathering up what is essentially the excess clay that was in the bottom, and I am forming what is becoming a neck. So this is still very short. If I just place this on, it's not going to hit the interior of the bobblehead just quite. So again, very slowly manipulating this shape to become a long, long neck. This is really not going to be seen in the long run, so you don't need to be too concerned with how it really looks, but I understand if you want it to look smooth and look nice. So just by pinching, I'm forcing that clay to go. All right, so at this point, this is probably 1.5 inches long. If I place this down, it does hit the inside of my smaller pinch pot, and you can see if these were fired and I let it rest, this would sit nicely and it would bobble. So I don't think you can really see it from this bird's eye view, but this is how long you want it to be. If you're having trouble with that, oh, by the way, when I'm not using my needle tool, I usually like to just stick it into a piece of clay so that it's not rolling away and it's easily there. But okay, so say that doesn't work, or say you rolled out your pinch pot, or say you pinched out your pinch pot already and you don't have enough excess clay to make that neck based on what you have, you can always just create it and then add it on after. So assuming that this pinch pot is smooth and the walls are even and it is the general shape that you want, you can take, this is probably too much, honestly. I'll cut this in half. This is maybe like olive sized. So I'm just going to roll this in between my hands. And just like that, I have the same length that I did by pinching it from the body. So here, the only difference is that we do need to score and slip. So pressed part of this so that it is flat. So then I put it down, there's more surface area. But scoring and slipping is, like I said, the way to attach 2 pieces of clay. It can be done plastic, it can be done leather hard. Honestly, when it's plastic like this, you don't need as much slip. When it's leather hard, you absolutely do, but this is the slip. So just take note really quickly. When I scored, I really scratched up this surface. The point of scoring is to basically create a grip. So if you imagine Velcro, it has all these fibers and textures and those things grab one another. So if I just take my needle tool and if I just score it like this, that's not going to do much. Even if I cross it a couple times, it's better, but it's not going to do a whole lot. I have seen people trying to score and slip by just making a couple lines, making a couple lines on their thing they want to attach it to. Boop. It's not the mere existence of the score that makes it stick, but rather this rough texture that you're creating. And I did it the same on both sides. So I have been referring to slip as glue. Slip is not a magic make everything stick glue. It is just to help with the suction. So if you're gonna forget one or the other, forget the slip. Your 2 pieces of plastic clay will probably honestly stick together without slip with that much scoring. They're both important, but you must score. 2 pieces of plastic clay will stick together without either, but as they dry, they will fall apart. They are sticking together when they are wet because that moisture is making everything sticky. What I like to do, just to really ensure that that is going to not go anywhere, is I'm going to create a small coil and just put it around the seam that I've created, so where they attach. So I'll have to make another one, and then use my finger to smooth that in to both pieces. If your hands are starting to get dry and you try to roll a coil, you'll get all that dry clay into it. So if you don't want your coil to be dry, then I recommend taking a minute and just wiping your hands off. Yeah, since that got kind of dry, it doesn't want to mold as nicely. Okay, and now I have this. It's wobbly, so we don't want to set our head on top and just let it sit because it will tip over. But like I said, that's what you get. If you don't like how much neck is showing, that's fine. Just take your needle tool, snip a bit off. Oop, I just cracked my toothpick a little bit. All right, so I took a little off and now there's less neck showing. You can really play with this and go as low as you want, as long as the head doesn't start to touch the body, because then it won't give you that bobbling effect. So this is probably the lowest I'll want to go. Now, I did this really quickly for the sake of showing you how to make your neck to create the bobbling effect. I know that your pinch pots are going to look nicer than mine. That was made strictly for demonstration purposes. Okay, so what you'll want to do, set these aside, let them firm up a little bit. If class ends, do not forget to wrap these up